What's up, guys? It's Alec with the Hood Fellas. Today we're going to be talking money. When it comes to money, we all want true financial freedom. That's what we're all looking to get. And what is true financial freedom? So Robert Kiyosaki has a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he talks about a concept of the cash flow quadrant. So the cash flow quadrant is the ways of making money here in the United States of America. So in your first quadrant, you have E, which stands for your employees. Employees are people who work your regular 9-to-5 jobs. They go, they clock in, working a regular 9-to-5. Keyword here being a job. I've always heard that a job is J-O-B, just over broke. So they pay you just enough so that you can pay your bills and just enough so that you don't quit. But there's never ways for you to actually move forward and get ahead in life. And so what he talks about is being able to move into the S quadrant. S stands for specialist, sales, and self-employed. So your specialists are your doctors, your surgeons, maybe your engineers. Now the thing here is that you're still having to trade on this side of the quadrant. What he talks about is that you're having to trade your time for money. And so he talks about we're always going to be stuck in the rat race. We're always going to have to keep working if we're trading our time for money. Pretty much as a specialist, if I'm a doctor, if I'm a surgeon, I have to go and I have to do surgeries. If I'm a dentist, I have to go and work on people's teeth. And if I'm not doing those things, then I'm not making money. So I'm trading my time for money. As an employee, same thing. I'm working my 9-to-5. If I don't go show up to my job, they're not going to pay me a check. I need to be showing up. In sales, the other thing here is I have to go out there, I have to be making sales. If I'm not making sales, then unfortunately I'm not making money. If I'm not speaking to customers, if I'm not speaking to clients, then unfortunately I'm not making money. And then your last one is your self-employed people. These are people who are opening up a business. They're self-employed to their jobs. So they're having to go and work the day-to-day, the operations of their job so that they can make their money. If they're not there running their business, then unfortunately they're not going to be making any type of money. And so the biggest difference between these two is, again, J-O-B, you're just over broke in this quadrant. But in this quadrant, you have the opportunity to make more money than just paying your bills. You have the opportunity to start taking that money and then moving yourself to the next side of the quadrant. So Robert Kiyosaki says, get out of this, the employee, and you want to make your way into the S quadrant so that you have some more money to start allocating to other things that'll get you true financial freedom. He talks about in this top quadrant, you have your B, which is your big business. In this side is that the biggest difference from this and a self-employed person is that you have people working with you. You have a huge team that's working with you. Big business meaning you have a lot of employees that are working for your business. And so the cool thing here is that you're trading other people's time for money. OPT, other people's time for money. So in this quadrant, if you wanted to, if you have a lot of people running your business, you can go on a vacation with your family and still be having your business operate and you're still being able to make some money. If you were to get in a car accident and you had to unfortunately be in the hospital, then the cool thing is while you're in the hospital, your business is still making you money. You still have other people trading their time to make you money. And so again, this is making your way to true financial freedom because you're not having to allocate your time to go and make yourself money. The last quadrant is the investor quadrant. And on the investor quadrant, what you're doing is you're trading money for money. What you're able to do is you're able to go and invest your hard-earned dollars and then now have these dollars working hard for you. And then those dollars start making you more money. So now you're not having to trade anyone's time for money, you're trading your money for money. And so the biggest benefit of moving from here to here is you're able to actually start making enough money to pay your bills, but you're also able to make more money than that so that you can start allocating it into building a business, or you can start allocating it into investments where your money will be making you money. And so you want to be able to have a system and a structure that you can take your hard-earned money and start moving it to this side of the quadrant so that you're not always stuck in the rat race. You're not always going to be having to trade your time for money, and you can earn the true financial freedom that everyone's looking for, which is the peace of mind and that you having your time available to do whatever it is that you would like to do. So the key is again, moving from employee to the sales to specialist or to self-employed. Now, once you get to this, now there's another step that's involved, which is the discipline of money, the discipline of money management. You have to be able to manage your money properly. One of the biggest downsides in sales is that people come in and they make a lot of money. They make a ton of money, more money than they've ever made before, and then they go and blow all that money. One of the secrets to money is it's not about how much you make, but it's how much you keep. And so not just blowing all your money, wasting it on a bunch of liabilities. So there's difference between liabilities and assets. Liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket, things that are taking and consuming your money. People sometimes think that homes are an asset, but in reality what they're doing is every month they're taking money out of your pocket. So they're not putting money into your pocket like an asset would. A home can become an asset if you have a home that starts putting money into your pocket every month. Rental properties, apartment complexes, Airbnbs, things of those nature. Those things are now not taking money out of your pocket every single month. They're actually putting money into your pocket. And so the poor people, what they do is they buy liabilities. Rich people buy assets. And so again, it's being able to structure your money so that you can start putting money towards assets and building your wealth. So there's another book out there that's called Profit First, another great book, and he talks about how to allocate your money. And so he talks about the book being called Profit First is that you want to be able to turn a profit. People struggle in business because they're never able to make a profit so they can go and enjoy their lives and do things. And so he talks about in the book, the first thing that you want to do when it comes to allocating your money is build a profit. So let's say that I get into sales. I get a huge check, right? I get let's say a $5,000 check. I want to be able to distribute this money so that I can start using it to start deploying and moving me to this side. But I also want to be able to experience my money. I want to enjoy my money. I want to have a good time. And so from this 5,000, I need to disperse this into different accounts. I don't know if you guys were ever growing up and your grandma, I know my grandma did this a lot. She had an envelope system for all of her money. And what she would do is she would disperse all of her money. Every time she would get her money, she would put in one envelope. That was going to be her fun account. In one envelope, she'd have her savings. In another envelope, she'd have her bills. That's essentially what we're going to be doing here. Instead of using envelopes, what we're going to be using is different bank accounts. So we use different bank accounts for each of these little envelopes of money that we're going to be creating. I would have my fun account. I would have my taxes account. I would have my savings account. I would have my credit card account. And I would have my expenses account and my investment account. So each of these would have their own little percentage of how much I'm going to be putting into it. For me, what I do is for taxes, I do 15%. For savings, I do 20%. For credit cards, I do 15%. For expenses, I do 30%. And then for this one, 10. And for this one, also 10. Once you have your percentages broken up, whenever you get a check, you can then divide that into the different accounts. And again, each of these has their own different bank account. Each of these will have their own account. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to make my money not so easily accessible. If I have all this money in just different checkings accounts and all of them have their own card, it's easy for me to go and just spend that money. And so again, I want to be able to create discipline in my life so that I'm not spending the money. I don't want to be spending the taxes money. As a sales rep, I actually have to pay my taxes at the end of the year. And so if I don't pay my taxes at the end of the year, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble with the government. So I want to create rules and systems so it's kind of hard for me to access this money. I don't want to have this money easily accessible. I could set up a bank account where I don't have, maybe I have a savings account and it doesn't have any type of debit card that's associated to it. And I can tell the bank, the only way that I can get this money is if I can come into here with you guys and I actually withdraw the account from you guys. I could even set it up in some cases where I set up a policy where I would like to have it a transfer that's going to take about 7 business days. So again, it's making it hard for me to access this money. For a fun account, I can keep that pretty simple. I can keep that like as a checking account because again, that's going to be the money that I use for like my date nights, for presents, maybe to go and spoil myself and buy myself some nice clothes, so backpacks, whatever it is that I want for myself. My savings accounts, again, same thing here. I kind of want to create this as like, it's hard for me to get this money. I don't want to be touching this money. The goal with your savings account is that you want to have at least, for some, they say the rule is anywhere between 3 to 6 months. I would shoot for the 6 months, and this is going to be your emergency fund. This is important to set up because if things go crazy, we just got off of COVID, that was a whole crazy situation that happened, but if things go haywire, or if I'm in sales and maybe I do have a little bit of a down slump, I want to be able to have some expenses so that I'm not freaking out and I'm not going crazy thinking about how I'm going to be paying my bills. I want to be able to have an emergency fund saved up for 6 months of my expenses. So this means that you have to determine what your expenses are every month, write down every single thing that you're spending money on that's an expense to you, and then create your total budget for 6 months. And then your first major goal when it comes to money should be getting to this 6-month savings account. The reason why you want to have this set up is because you don't want to have to be taking money from your other accounts if things do go wrong. You want to be able to have this emergency fund that you can take your money from if for some reason you can't maybe pay your bills, maybe COVID happens, we stop working, whatever the case may be, whatever emergency happens, you have 6 months of living expenses saved up for yourself. Once you get to this, then you can create other savings goals. Maybe if you want to buy a house, you can start putting that as another savings account. Maybe you want to do vacations and you plan out your vacations at the beginning of the year and you say, hey, I want to do 2 vacations. You determine where you want to go, and now you create another savings account for your vacations that you plan to take this year. You can create many different savings accounts so that you can go ahead and start budgeting out your life. But the first thing that you should start getting to is your emergency fund. This is crucial. Get to this first, then create your other savings accounts. There's some bank accounts out there that will actually let you open up one bank account, but within that one bank account, they'll actually have you be, you're able to separate your money into different categories. You can have your emergency fund, your house fund, and your vacations fund all from one bank account. Another thing that you want to do is, obviously, if you have credit cards, you want to be able to pay those off. From every check that I get, I start putting some money towards the credit cards. If I've already paid off all my credit cards, if all of those are already zeroed out and they're already covered on their full balance, then I have another rule that if I have this money here, then this actually goes redirected back into savings. So that way I can start allocating more money towards the goals that I have for myself, reaching reaching the goals that I have, buying a house, buying a vacation, maybe also buying a car. I have a savings account, and then again, I can take that money that I didn't use because my credit cards were already paid off and then go to that. So again, credit cards, I want to be able to pay my credit cards off. That's the rule for the credit cards, 15%. Then my expenses, this is going to be the biggest one. Obviously, 30% of your money goes to this. Whatever your expenses are, you want to be able to cover that. Now, same thing here. There's also rules for this. If I can't cover my expenses for that week, for that 2-week period, or for that monthly period with the 30% that I got from this 5,000, then the first place that I pull money from is from my fund account. If I still can't get that money, then I would then get it from my savings account. Again, this is where the discipline kicks in. If you're having to pull money from your fund account to pay your expenses and you only have a certain amount of money in that fund account, then you can't go and do fun things. You can't go and buy yourself those nice things. Put your financial future ahead of your immediate desires. It's taking your long-term desire, it's saying yes to your long-term desire and saying no to your short-term desires or your short-term desires. So delayed gratification instead of instant gratification. You don't need the instant satisfaction right now. Put the instant satisfaction away so that you can get to your bigger long-term goals. So if you don't have the money available in your fund account, then again, you're not going to be spending your fund account, or you're not going to be doing anything fun. From your expenses, again, if you can't afford to get that, you pull it from the fund. If you can't afford to still pay that your monthly expenses, you then pull it from your savings. The next one is your investment account. Again, you want to create something that you're actually going to start putting money aside to start moving you to the different brackets. And again, this is why having an S-type job or S-type of work is going to be able to allow you to start putting more money into this account. So if I can have more money than what I'm paying my bills with, I can start allocating a larger amount to the investment bucket that I have here. And so then I would start taking this money, and there's different types of investments you can do. You can do something very simple. There's things that automatically invest for you. You can start creating another savings account for a rental property. You can start doing stocks, mutual funds. There's so many different things that you can do that'll be your investments. Your job and your thing here is that you need to educate yourself on the investments that you would like to invest into. Be smart with your money. Start to learn about different investments. I know there's some people in crypto, whatever it is that you're trying to get into, but learn about what it is that you're trying to get into, and then start putting some money aside into that, and then so that you can start taking that money and invest it. And then that money that you're using to invest, maybe you want to open up a business. You can start creating a savings account to start opening up your business. In order to open up a business, it does cost money. So you need to be able to have some money put away so that you can invest into that business. Or maybe you want to just be an investor into a business. You see a business that you like, you invest into that business. You can take the money that you had saved up and then invest that into a business. Many different things that you can do here. Again, it's up to you to get yourself educated on what you would like to do, and then start having your bucket for whatever it is that you're trying to do. But the cool part here too is that this is an easy way for you to track. In sales, we get paid every week. So every week what I can do is I can take this money and then I can easily disperse it very quickly. So if we take the 5,000, if we take the 5,000 and then I do the 0.10, that would mean that I have 500 that's going to be allocated to my fund account. 5,000 times the 0.15 is going to equal the 750 towards my taxes account. 5,000 times the 0.20 would put 1,000 into my savings account. Okay? From the 5,000, we'll get the 15%. That would put us at 750 here for my expenses. 1,500. And then 500 here. Once I have this, I do this on a weekly basis. Whatever my check was, I then add that to the amount that I already have in there. So let's say that I already had $500 in my fund account. I take the money that I have, I take the money that I already had, and now I know what I have in this bank account. The 750 here, let's say I already had 1,000 in my taxes account. Now I know I have 1,750. And so the cool part about this is that once you know exactly what you have in that account, now you can go out on a weekend and you can go out and splurge and have a little bit of fun, knowing that whatever you spend on this card, it's okay because that was your fun account. And so it allows you to live life without the stress of worrying like, oh, should I be doing this or should I not be doing this? I remember one time for me when I first started making some money, I would go out and I would feel really guilty because I was just spending my money. But if you know how much you should be spending and you know that you have money already allocated to go out and have fun and just splurge and have a good time with your friends, your family, your loved ones, then you're not going to feel so guilty about it because you know that this is the money that's allocated for it. What this does is it gives every dollar that hits your bank account a mission, and you know exactly what that dollar is going to be doing for you. So if you're trying to get out of the rat race, if you're trying to earn true financial freedom for yourself, find a way to get out of your regular basic job, your JOB, you're just over broke, move to the the S bracket so that you can start having some money to start funding your businesses or start funding your investments that you want to make. Now the key to do that is being able to have a structured budget with your system and then having the discipline to stick with this system and then start putting money aside to reach your savings goals, to reach your investment goals, and then start making your way into these different categories. And that's how you earn true financial freedom. Follow for more.